Hi, good afternoon. This is Sonya Doswell. I'd like to welcome you to Solminod, where all things are possible. And remember that here at Solminod, we recognize the importance of inhaling love to exhale compassion. So we hope that you exercise that as well, so that you will be able to extend grace to another as you go throughout your day. So it's been a couple weeks since we've been on, and we've been busy traveling, but I'm very excited about the guests that we have in the studio here with us today. We'll get to them in just a moment. But before we start, I just wanted to go over a couple brief announcements. My goodness, there's been so many natural disasters that have been taking place here in this nation with the tornadoes that have ripped through the Midwest. Of course, the heat wave is in process right now, actually seemingly in the studio today. And the forest fires in Arizona, which are, the worst in history. So please remember to hold those individuals up in prayer, and if there's anything that you can do to lock arms with the local organizations or even the global organizations that come into the region to offer assistance to the people, please do so. You can contact the Red Cross, you can contact Samaritan's Purse, you can contact Feed the Children, and so on. Of course, we highlight a lot of these organizations throughout the shows here on Solminod, and they are all listed, so you can contact any of those organizations to lock arms and do whatever you can to bring positive change to those regions. And for those of you who are living in those regions, try to be safe, and if you receive those warnings to evacuate, please heed the warnings. So I've had a couple busy weeks here. We have high school graduates. My goodness, my own son graduated here, and all of his friends and his boys and girls there in the area that I love so much and have been able to spend so much time with have just graduated. So we've been busy with that, and like I said, I've been traveling and out on the course quite a bit. So but we're back. Next week we're off to Seattle, and I'm going to celebrate my 44th birthday, so I'll be there in Seattle. I'll be coming to see you guys soon. Anyway, hey, also, don't forget about the Lenny Wilkens Foundation is having their big event on August the 12th and the 13th. So you can log on to lennywilkensfoundation.org for all of the information and how you too can participate in the golf scramble and the silent auction and dinner that will be taking place in the Hyatt Regency in Bellevue, Washington, which is a suburb of Seattle. And the golf scramble takes place out at Echo Falls, also in the Seattle area. So check that out, and I'll see you out there on the course or maybe there at the dinner. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce the guests that we have with us here in the show, in the studio today. This is just a representation of the class of 2011. We have Jordan Doswell, who is my son, almost 18. I don't know how you're pulling them up on the screen, but however it works, that's great. And then we have Ryan Larsen, graduate of Johnson High School, class of 2011, already 18, correct? The rest of you are already 18, right? Yeah. And we have Zahn here with us today, and we have Jimmy Siebert here with us today. And not only are these young men representing the class of 2011, but they are all former players of mine from my years of when I was coaching them. I'm still coaching with my younger boy, but with these boys. So hey, guys, welcome to Solminod. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. We're excited.
Good. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you. I know we couldn't get all of the guys in here, but you guys are here to represent the group. Mm-hmm. I could have asked like 50 kids from the class to come in here, but I thought I would stick with you boys that I had the pleasure and delight of coaching to get you in here and give you this platform. So let's see. First of all, Jordan, so what did you think about those years of being coached by Mom? I know this last year when you were playing for Johnston, you specifically asked that I not be coach, and I completely understand. But hey, didn't you have fun when you were with Crush?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah, well, it was two different things, the 3v3 tournament
That's
that you
right.
coached, and then the actual rec soccer of the 11v11. But yeah, I don't know, I like the whole 3v3 experience.
It was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah. I kind of just forgot that you were my mom and you were just my coach.
Right. And I appreciate that, because then you were very coachable, just like the rest of the guys, and did whatever was needed and what you were directed to do. So I appreciate that. And Ryan, what are your thoughts?
I like the whole 3v3 thing. It was since playing soccer since I was 5 years old. It was a very different experience. Got to actually go play offense and score some goals and do some tricks instead of just defending. And Putting kids to the ground.
Putting kids to the ground. Come on now. You know, we didn't. It's nothing that we condoned. Although there was that one game. Was that against Heartland or Heartland? Was it? Jimmy, what do you remember about that?
Got a little physical.
It got real physical.
I was gonna say I should leave it at physical.
The football players came out in us that game, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Well, and it's a little bit tough when they're pulling the jerseys and yanking them down, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I always tried to tell you guys, you know, keep your hands down, be strong and aggressive, but keep it clean. But boy, I understand that things kind of were pushed to the limits on that game, weren't they?
Yeah. Kind of glad we had a coach that could keep our cool for us.
Yeah, yeah.
Or else we would have gotten.
Yeah, most coaches would just start yelling with us, but you kept us under control, so it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, those were such fun days, though.
Yeah.
We still talk about all the memories that we had of the 3-on-3 tournaments in school, even though they were 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And that just Cedar Rapids.
Yeah.
That's right, because you guys always won your at the local tournaments, and then you go on to the regionals in Cedar Rapids. So.
Yeah.
That's right. So how many years did we do that 3v3 then?
It was like 2 or 3, I think.
2 or 3. The first year was
Like 2.5.
Yeah, first year we had Spencer's little brother, too.
because we didn't have enough
Yeah,
kids to
because we were in blue.
Yeah.
So we had Spencer Lee and his little brother.
And Hank.
Hank,
And
yeah.
Hank, yeah. And did was Mitch Bruckshaw? No, yeah, Hank, and then was Mitch Bruckshaw in that one or in the next year?
He was the next year after that.
He was in the next year.
Yeah.
So that next year was in blue, and then it was 2 more summers in pink, though.
No, it was one
I think
summer
it was
pink.
only
It was just the one?
Yeah.
Okay, so who was all in the pink?
I was pink and blue. I was in there for the first year.
Yeah.
Pink and blue. Ryan, pink and
Pink
blue.
and blue.
Pink and blue. Pink and blue. Of
Yeah.
course, so all you guys were, and Spencer.
Mhm.
And then Buddha was just pink. And I think you're having those pictures up on the screen, aren't you?
And there was Connor and Austin, too.
Yeah, Connor
They
and
filled in a
Austin.
few
There was
games.
Tyler, that one.
And Tyler,
yeah.
yeah.
Tyler
I
Solminod.
don't. What team was that? Was that pink team or?
That was the
Yeah, that was when we went to
regional
Cedar
for Cedar
Rapids.
Rapids.
That was the blue team.
Because what? Spencer didn't go to Cedar Rapids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ryan, what's your best memory about those days, huh? Pulling together as a team, just whoever we pulled together for the 3v3.
You made me eat my first healthy breakfast instead of Pop-Tarts in the morning. I remember that. And I don't know, just going out there, hanging out with everyone, and the summer fun.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Summer heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Joe?
I think the eating of the fruit was the most memorable, and putting the wet towels on our wrists and our necks, because
Yes.
that's the part that cooled us down the most
Yeah,
of our
that's
body.
right. Yeah.
And it was just kind of a fun change of pace from summer activities,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. How about you, Jimmy?
I don't know. I just really liked the whole 3v3 experience because like how fast paced it was. There's like never like resting and stuff, and like the periods were shorter and all that.
Right.
And then like we wouldn't get much resting time in between games. We had like 10 games it seemed like in a day, so it was a lot different than like normal soccer or just
Right.
like any sport.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what I liked
A
about
little bit of
it.
a high, wasn't it? Because it's so
Yeah.
intense and fast paced, huh?
Yeah, we always had the hottest days too, the summer.
Oh, I know. 100 degrees.
And we had to learn how to shoot the ball on the ground,
Oh
because
my
we'd all kick it
gosh.
100 feet over the goal.
Right.
And then we always make the other team go get it.
Yeah.
Well, and how about Spencer Lee? I mean, isn't he
Yeah.
going on to college now?
Yeah,
Drake.
he's gonna kick at Drake.
Yeah, he's going to kick a Drake, and he was always just crushing it clear over. And then, of course, the goals are little 6 by 3 feet or whatever they were. Yeah. Well, those were great days, and in that season, I was able to speak into their lives on many different levels. And we talked a bit about sports and healthcare and nutrition and fitness and all of that, and a few sermons mixed in there too, huh, guys?
Yeah. There were.
Yeah.
I
So-
tried to listen.
Well, I hope that you guys took it all to heart, because now you guys have all graduated from Johnston High School here in Iowa as of just a couple weeks ago, and so you're moving on, and so that's really why we wanted to bring you here in the show, is to talk a little bit about your future and what's going on after graduation. So you're all here in town for the summer then, right?
Yeah, I think so.
For part of the summer.
Part of the summer?
I leave for Chicago actually in 2 Saturdays from now to travel around the country to play baseball for
Great.
the summer.
Fantastic.
On kind of like a prospect team, so that'll be fun.
Good for you. And what position, Joe?
Third base.
Third base.
Yep.
Fantastic.
so moved on from the soccer days.
Yep, that's right. And then in the fall, Ryan, what are your plans?
I'm going to be going to Wartburg, become a knight there, and play basketball, and try to become a physical therapist or a dentist.
Fantastic, great. Basketball. So again, not pursuing soccer because you just wrapped up for the high school team, didn't you? You guys were just in state last week.
We got fourth in state. Consolation game. It wasn't a big deal. People just pulled together and we just had fun playing soccer. And my soccer days are pretty much over with unless I decide to change mine in the next year. That basketball is not really my thing.
Right.
It's been fun though.
And what position basketball?
Just a guard. I don't know. Hoping to work out and get my hops up so I can dunk it finally.
And Jordan, what are your plans after high school?
I'm gonna go to DMAC for a couple of years and then transfer to university.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great. And Jordan, of course, being your mom, I know this, but I'll just ask the questions for our viewers who don't know you. So you grew up playing the drums quite a bit. Do you see yourself continuing that possibly, even as a hobby, or maybe?
Oh yeah, like it's always definitely gonna be a hobby, but I don't really see myself like playing it like professionally or anything like that. Yeah, I don't think I'm like that good. But
Travis Parker, September with Blink-182.
I mean, that'd be great if the opportunity comes.
Well, and you are good, and it's amazing because you got that gift from your grandfather. You don't even know how to read music, and you just play by ear. You have that natural gift and that natural ear. Jordan, God totally blessed you with that. So, Jimmy, what are your plans then in the fall? What are you gonna do?
I'll be attending Simpson College, and I'm gonna be playing golf there. Hopefully, to major in biology with like an interest in like human physiology. So I'll probably attend there for 4 years. Play golf there for 4 years, and then hopefully attend like a postgraduate school.
Great.
Maybe like physical therapy, more specific.
And so how's your golf game then, huh? Must be pretty good if you're going there to play golf.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm playing in a few tournaments this summer.
Great.
Just like keep like the mental edge there and like the competitive edge there. So I don't just like walk in and I'm like blank. But so I got to practice a lot and get lessons and all that stuff. And then try to get like more flexible because that's like a part of the game and learn more about the game and like the swing over the summer before I actually go in.
Okay, great. Well, we're going to go ahead and go to a commercial break here for just a moment. And when we come back, we're going to hear from the young men of the class of 2011 speaking for their generation on global issues, politics, healthcare, and so forth. So tune in. We'll be right back after the break. Insurance, a critical part of anyone's financial planning. But have you explored all the other options available to you through the Western Catholic Union? Great features such as 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, even 10-year terms, competitive interest rates, and the potential for tax-deferred earning. Annuities, IRAs, life insurance, the protection options for Western Catholic Union members are vast and can be easily explored with the caring guidance of Retirement Solutions Group representatives. And don't forget about other great membership benefits like the annual baseball bash in St. Louis, Script Save discount prescription cards, and numerous others. Call Retirement Solutions Group at 866-247-5695 or locally at 515-661-6240 to create retirement the way you want it. Located on the 4th floor of the Regis Building at the West Glen Town Center. Look for our ad in the May, June, and July issue of Des Moines Magazine featuring senior living opportunities in Des Moines. Okay, so we're back from the break, and we have 4 young gentlemen here with us from Johnston, Iowa, graduating class of 2011. And I've invited them here into the studio to ask them several questions, just kind of representing their generation. I want their perspective on various issues and just kind of pick their brains a little bit. We all know where we were when we were 17 and 18 years old and what our worldview was and whether we even had one or cared about it and what our hopes and dreams were. And so here we're going to ask these young men today. So first of all, I want to talk, let's touch on the subject of politics, Joe, and let's go ahead and start with you. So now, tell me this, do you guys really track politics much, personally or in school? Is it really a heavy topic that's discussed a lot amongst amongst kids, or is it really those who are just in that setting?
In school, I feel like we were kind of forced upon to talk about politics in government class, but as time went on, we kind of engaged in it actually ourselves instead of being forced. So, and I feel like we've learned quite a lot in school about politics, because before I never followed politics really much at all.
So tell me, what do you think that you picked up here in the last, obviously there's been a lot of changes here with Obama coming into the presidency here for our nation. Tell me something that you've learned in the last 2 years, maybe, in your junior and senior year, either in school or out of school, about politics that maybe you never really cared much about or paid attention to or never even heard of before.
Definitely how they pick representatives for kind of the House of Representatives and the Senate. That was heavily enforced when we were learning. So that was a big thing that I picked up upon, and I think that I'll probably remember for a while.
Yeah, it is a very interesting process too, isn't it? Ryan, what do you think? What are your thoughts on politics today? Is it a real big interest of yours, or do you just think you'll probably come into it later in life?
More into it later in life, but I thought that I got into it a lot because the second semester of school, I had Mr. Knight, and we'd always spend the first 10-15 minutes talking about the current events instead of back in the day how the government worked. And so it kind of got the class all talking and interested in what is actually happening out in the world.
Good, right, and especially living here in Des Moines, Iowa, it's a small city here comparatively here in the United States. We're in the Midwest. We're not really around any major metropolitan cities, and sometimes I think if people tend to look kind of down and into their own situation instead of lifting up their heads and being in tune and aware of what's happening out in the world, you can kind of get lost and not really be kept up to speed with what's happening. So, Jordan, what do you think? What do you think about Obama coming into office?
I think it was. I mean, obviously he's the first, African American president. So, I mean, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then also the fact that I don't know. I like the people he was running against. I didn't really care for too much. So he was kind of, I don't know, my biggest. I wanted him to win, so I'm happy.
Yeah, and and he's not doing everything correctly. It's a tremendous amount of pressure that he's under, and he has a strong team that is around him. But he's not perfect. Everybody has flaws, and so Jimmy, tell me about politics. If you think that you could create the ideal president, what would he or she look like?
Well, I don't know if you can really say what they look like. So I think it's more based on their ideas and stuff like that. So obviously I think a lot of schooling helps. So they're gonna have to, they need to be smart, they need to be creative, and they need to be able to think fast. So I want someone that's gonna be able to make good decisions fast and possibly even know the consequences of what they're saying. So the look isn't really a big difference to me. Besides, they have to be 35 years old. So maybe a little age in them.
A little experience under their belt.
A little experience, some gray hairs here and there.
Gray hairs are good, huh?
Maybe some facial hair.
Facial hair, okay.
But other than that, probably just be very intelligent and know what they're doing and have experience. Probably even in both parties, both major parties, even though that might not necessarily be the best way to go, then they can look at it both ways and be able to make the most informed decisions. So I think that's what I would.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great if the two sides can cross the aisle and have a little kumbaya, huh?
They can put aside their differences. I think we would become more of a united, not worry about that person's Democratic, that person's Republican.
Right.
With straight ticket voting or whatever.
It's funny because people often ask me, what party I'm associated with, and I've actually been on both over the years, but I prefer to say that I'm not necessarily so strongly pro-party as I am pro-issues. Even though I may represent one party, or another, but I really like to try to put the focus on the issues that are at hand, because behind those issues are people, and behind those people are faces and lives and reality and stories, and that tends to get lost in the mix. So, okay, well, let's just switch gears a little bit, guys. So we have a lot of changes that are taking place in our environment. drastically, quite different than when I was coming up. Although coming up on the West Coast, it was kind of new and fresh, and they were really concerned about that back in the 70s, and really getting into recycling and living green and all of that. And of course now it's absolutely necessary, that the nation come together and focus on this. Do you guys have any concerns about your future in regards to green issues and the environment slowly dwindling away, or the care that's being taken forth? Or do you guys have any causes that are environmentally associated that you guys embrace?
Cars, automobiles, probably the biggest. I mean, like, if you just look at research and like statistics and stuff, it shows like from like before in like the prehistoric days how much like oxygen and all that stuff was in our atmosphere, and then now that the cars are letting off all the exhaust and all that, I don't know, it's not good for our lungs. And especially like in the cities, you can have like, what's it, like smog, yeah, you can have a bunch of smog, and it's just eating away at like the outer level that's protecting us in the atmosphere, and the sun's rays will eventually start making it hotter, and we'll just lose all the ice caps, then the world will just end.
Anybody else have any thoughts or issues on environmental issues?
I feel like it's not going to affect our generation as much as the next generation, the generation after that. So we kind of have somewhat of a responsibility to kind of help out with that as much as we can.
That's good that you recognize that you do have a responsibility, even though, like you said, it's not going to affect your generation as strongly. I remember when I was coming up, those commercials started to come out about littering, don't litter and don't leave your car running and things like that, and that was new and cutting edge at that time, and a lot of people just kind of had the issue, well, who cares, it's not going to affect me, I'll be dead by the time that this really becomes an issue. They didn't carry that burden of responsibility, Joe, so I'm glad that you recognize the importance of carrying that responsibility. Okay, so I'm going to switch gears here a little bit, guys. Here at Solminod we talk about ethics and morals and values and so forth. And one of the things that is such a concern for me, which we've touched on before in the show, are the ratings in videos, music videos, TVs, movies, and whether or not that they're actually appropriate ratings, and what is acceptable today in society, even on television. It's changed quite a bit. I mean, you guys have been exposed to way more than I was, and I'm just a couple generations ahead of you guys. So do you guys recognize that? Do you guys ever discuss that? Did you ever discuss in school or in your families or amongst yourselves? Or?
Well, I always was told, with especially my mom, that we were exposed to a lot more violence, with movies and video games and stuff like that. And she always would say why do you always play these games? Because it's just gonna make you more violent and stuff like that. And I think it has shown somewhat in our society that we are a more violent society now that we're looser on those subjects and stuff like that. So I would say that's probably one of the bigger things too.
And how about with sexual issues? I mean, all the nudity that's out there, and especially the violence against women in these movies and videos, it just really upsets me. I mean, it's definitely has affected our society. How do you guys feel about that moving forward?
I feel like they've become kind of too lenient on restrictions, especially for TV. Nothing's really controlled. I mean, any little kid can turn on the TV and watch anything he or she wants. So.
And with that representative or whatever, that Representative Wiener, he's sending out nude pics on Twitter.
Right.
So, what the heck? What? They're just it's so easy to send and so easy to do.
So easy to access.
Yeah.
Too easy.
When I worked summer camps last year at basketball camps, and some kids would be saying words I'd be I wouldn't even expect them to be saying in 5th grade, and it's I think the TV's been more accessible to those kind of things. They won't exactly go straight forward to it, but they'll bend ways around it to make it seem more fun to the teenagers, that it's more sexual or something.
Right. And do you think maybe it's being a little bit more acceptable even in the homes? I think the parents may be lowering their bar, lowering their standards, and just saying, well, it's just the way of the world now, that they're going to be exposed to it anyway, and letting little 7-year-old Billy and 10-year-old Susie being exposed to all this stuff?
I don't think it's really I don't know if they necessarily lower their bar. It's just the fact that if they turn their TV on and it's not necessarily, it's just a public channel, what else can they do? I mean, it's pretty, and especially if the parents not there or something, they can just flip the channel back if they like the show, and they're just exposed to it pretty easily. So It's pretty hard. I don't know if the parents actually want to lower the bar, but kind of just like the kids can get this stuff so easily.
Well, that sounds like disobedience to me, and let me tell you, back in the day, that was not happening. We would not, we would not rebel against our parents. I mean, if they said no TV, if we even tried it, I remember my mom would come home and just put her hand on the side of that big console TV that was sitting on the floor, you know, put her hand on to see if it was warm. We just would not go against what they said to do. And in this generation, the kids are tending to do their own thing. How do you guys feel about that? Where are the boundaries?
Even in our generation, I would have probably gotten taken up to my room and gotten a spanking
Good.
for disobedience, and these kids aren't much younger than us, maybe 10 years or less, and things have definitely changed quite a bit.
Well, you know, and maybe the opportunity will present itself, and you guys can have an opportunity to exercise your voices. There's a lot of organizations that are out there. I get emails every day from dozens of organizations and causes that I believe in, and you guys can sign petitions, and you can show up at meetings, and you can help with donations, $5, $10, you know, whatever. Sometimes they need your help in door-to-door services, or doing some work in the offices, or you know, whatever they need help with, just to kind of do your part. So if you guys ever see an issue that you really feel is strong in your heart, that you want to see change come about, you know, be open to rolling up your sleeves and taking part of this. I mean, that's really one of the main ways that Obama got in, was because he went to the people, and the people rolled up their sleeves and said, great, what can I do? It's just me. I am but just, you know, one person, but what can I do?
Yeah.
So, you know, Jordan, any thoughts on those with the ratings, with the TVs and videos and all that before we go to commercial break?
Oh, I don't know, just like, I agree with just like that everything's changed. Like, back in the day, you could watch like two boxers go at it, and someone will just have like a swollen face, but now you can watch people in MMA, like on Spike TV. You can watch like UFC and all that, and someone will get like a gashed up face and just start gushing out blood, or get knocked out from a kick to the face. Like, I don't know, that just would have been unheard of back in the other decades ago.
And you want to try it out.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we're going to go ahead to another commercial break, and we will be back shortly with the young gentleman from the class of 2011. So hang tight, and we'll be right back. Hey, so we're back from the break, and we have these four young men with us. We have Jordan, Ryan, Joe, and Jimmy here with us, high school graduates of the class of 2011, and we're just picking their brains and asking their perspective on various issues. So I just want to continue on. We were just talking about the ratings that are on videos and TVs, movies, R and PG, and what are the ones on TV? M and
MA.
14 and
MA14.
TVMA.
Yeah,
NC-17.
NC-7,
That's
wow.
extreme stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's like
Pay-per-view.
pay-per-view stuff.
Nothing that you boys would be watching, would you? Well, you are old enough, though, but I still think it's a bit much. Okay, so moving on. We talked about politics. We covered the environment and some of these ratings, but there's a couple of things that I wanted to ask them. And you know, I tend to talk so fast. And guys, you remember when they'd be like, come on, let's go, team. I'm trying to give your instructions really fast. Anyway, okay, so I want you guys to think about anything that you could change. If you can go back and change anything in your high school years, it doesn't necessarily have to be in high school or at a high school event, but just within the last 4 years of your life, or maybe you take it back the last 6 years of your life. Any regrets or anything, maybe not a regret, but anything that if you went back and did it again, you might do it a little bit differently.
Like trying to be more out there and talk to more different people. Like,
okay. Be more sociable.
Yeah,
and more active and stuff in school,
or like you go to like some friend's house and you kind of sit quiet there, and it's like, why didn't you become the life of the party that one night or something? It's just like little things like that. You kind of think about, wow, I could have did that differently or something.
An opportunity to interact with somebody that maybe you never have an opportunity again, and maybe
or a cute girl to say hello to.
Or a cute girl to say hello to. There's always that. Yeah.
I think be more outgoing in the hallways. If you try to say hi to people you know, that could make their day and could make your day if they say hi back.
Just give them a nice handshake.
Yeah.
It's like the majority of the people you're not going to see for the rest of your lives. Like unless they show up to like the class reunion, whatever, like 10 years or whatever that is. But like, I don't know, like if you just think about it, you're never gonna see them again.
A lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, like some people you probably never even said a word to when you could have.
Yeah, missed opportunities. And that makes me think too, guys. I think about teenage suicide today. There's a lot of kids that are dealing with issues at home that we may not be aware of at all, and they could be contemplating suicide. And who knows? God could have used you that day just to pass them in the hall and just smile, say, "Hey, what's up? How you doing today?"
Yeah, it can make a huge difference in someone's life. Just the smallest things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. So, if you guys were to give advice to, let's say, the 6th and 7th graders today, who are now going to go through school here for the next 5 or 6 years, what kind of advice would you give them?
Get a job.
Get a job.
Definitely. Because having that experience before you go off to college is going to make you more prepared for the real life. And it's a big advantage. They may not think, working 4 or 5 hours a week and making minimum wage is great, but it helps a lot.
So it's not so much about the money, but it's more about developing a work ethic, experience, or what?
I've got a pretty good work ethic just from working at Ruby Tuesday for the past, I don't know, like 14 months.
Yeah, I think you do too.
I'd say also get on the administration's good side so they don't pick on you, because they will. If like the people that they don't like, the kids that they don't like, they'll pick on them like all year. And they just make it obvious that they're picking on them. And also don't have a girlfriend, because I don't know, your focus will be somewhere else when it shouldn't be. It should be on school, friends, and
interesting that you say that, Jordan, because that's been my motto for all of my kids all these years.
I mean, like, I don't know.
It's because it just tends to be a distraction, doesn't it?
It's just a high school relationship. Like, it's probably not going to go anywhere. It's wasting your time.
Well, and it's what you do with your time. But if you are being distracted from other things that are have a greater impact in your life, then maybe you should get back to focusing on those things, huh? What else, Ryan? Any advice for those kids?
Well, some kind of make a memory of it, because you don't want to go back and think, what did I do my whole life, or why didn't I do certain things? Because our coach, our freshman coach, that he's a real fun guy to hang around with, and all the teammates crack jokes with him. Before our semifinal game that we lost, he said, "Make a memory." And so it's always sticking with me now that you kind of just have to go out there and live big.
Live big.
Live big.
That's a great word of the day.
Live big. Live each day to the fullest, huh? Yeah. Jimmy, what do you think?
I just want to, kind of like Ryan saying, with the whole memory thing, just don't waste high school. Make a memory of it. Study, learn as much as you can, because knowledge is truly power, and the more you know, the more it can help you out with everyday things, whatever situation you may come across and stuff like that. And then also just you want to be active with everything. You meet so many people trying new things, and then meeting those people, you just it helps you get out of a shell if you're shy and stuff like that. And you can learn how to talk to people, and if you can talk to people, I mean, that's just one of that's another advantage to you. So, and then just you just don't want to waste that time. It's 4 years of your life that you're never going to get back. I mean, you're going to go on to college, have more schooling than most people, because that's the norm now today. So,
after graduation, you felt like you're in the real world now. You
Yeah.
want to feel like a kid through your
It
whole
was
life.
it was such a surreal feeling the day we graduated. I didn't want to believe it. I couldn't believe it was done. It felt like yesterday. We were just sophomores walking in for the first time.
Scared of Aaron Schultz.
Scared.
Huge.
Scared of the dude.
You guys are scared? Do you remember how tall I was? I was 4'8".
And trials and tribulations do come in school, don't they? I mean, Joe, you've been active in sports, a variety of sports throughout your whole life, and you blew out both ACLs. So talk to me a little bit about that and recovery. How do you take that on?
It was definitely as much mental. I don't know. It was as much. It was hard.
Mental discipline.
Mental discipline, and it was hard physically, because it really breaks you down. The first rehab, I was like, okay, I can get back from this, and then blowing my other one out before the football season again, it was kind of like, why me? But you kind of, everything happens for a reason.
That's right.
Even if you're not going to find out that reason anytime soon, you just got to keep believing. And it was harder mentally on me than it was physically, because I could rehab from that, but mentally it stuck with you.
And I know prayer was a big part of your recovery too,
Yes,
wasn't it?
Yes, a lot.
Yeah, that's right. Well, guys, we have about 3 minutes left in the show, and I just want to ask you guys, so I want you to think about this. Where do you see yourselves in 5 years from today? So, Jimmy, why don't you go ahead and tell us first. Where do you see yourself in 5 years from today?
I'll probably still be in college because, like I said earlier, I want to probably go to a postgraduate school. So I'll have 4 years of college under my belt, be much smarter, have the 4 years of golf. Maybe that could take me somewhere. But I know that golf is like that helps with like so many situations in life, especially for me. So that's a big part of my life. And then just wherever I end up being in my life, I'll choose a postgraduate school and keep learning. And then
Harvard.
Yeah, Harvard. And then just go on with my life. And
okay. And Joe, how about you in 5 years?
I either want to be studying for, or I've taken the CPA exam to be a certified public accountant and probably, hopefully, land a job with an accounting firm somewhere.
Fantastic. Ryan, how about you? 5 years. Where do you want to be in 5 years?
I want to study as much as abroad as possible, so I can travel the world and see what's out there.
There you go.
I want to explore new opportunities instead of being cooped up in Iowa. Even though it's a great place, and everyone thinks it's the worst place in America.
It's really not that bad.
It's just simple life, but
it's
I
just
kind of
one
want
part of the world, though.
Yeah,
that's all. It's one
I just
part
want
of
to
the
see
world.
how everything works out there and
Yep.
what else there is for me and others.
Great. Jordan, 5 years. Where do you see yourself, honey?
Rolling up in my mansion with my Bugatti with a beautiful wife waiting for it. No, I was kidding. I'll probably still just be getting out of DMAC. Well, not just. I'll be out of DMAC and a university, probably studying something in business. And, yeah, probably just waiting another year to get out.
Okay,
Living life
great.
to the fullest.
And we only have just a little over a minute, so 15 years. Let's go backwards. Go ahead.
All right, 15. So I'll be 33 years old, and I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I just probably want to be settled down and stuff like that. Have my family and kids, because like our generation, they said that it's gonna be like multiple jobs and stuff. So hopefully I'm settled down and have like my final job and can really just like work there and love it, and then that's probably it.
Great, Joe. 15 years from now.
I want to be happy somewhere in 15 years. That's
Yeah.
my goal.
Yeah, great. Good for you, Ryan.
Helping others, living up in Colorado, skiing the slopes.
Okay, great.
That's the beauty of it, seeing the scenery and riding it all day.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Okay, Joe or Jordan.
I want to be living comfortably and be successful and maybe family. I don't know. Question mark. See
I'd
what
like to be a
happens.
grandmother, so yes,
Yeah.
I sure hope so.
I just want to be happy no matter what.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I want to thank each and one of you for coming to being on the show here today on Solminod. You know, this really meant a lot to me to have my babies with me, and you guys are all young men now.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was
Fun.
sweet.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. Who knows? Maybe I can have you guys back another time. So
Maybe in 5 years.
that's right, in 5
Question
years. Maybe by then we'll be on television, huh?
Well,
Yeah.
facial hair.
And to all of you out there who are graduates of class of 2011 high school graduates, I congratulate each and every one of you, and I just pray for great success for you. And I assure you, if you keep God at the center of your world, you will be successful in whatever it is that you put your hand to do. So be blessed, and congratulations on graduating. Thanks for all of you for tuning in here at Solminod, and we will see you next time. Ciao.